And like I said, I'm standing right here, talking, blah, blah. Welcome to episode number 2. After the starter clutch, the intro 1.5. Today I'm going to be working on a fork tube, one of the fork tubes. I've already done one for the KZ750. I've already done one. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for it and see how it went, make sure I could do it, get all the tools and stuff down. So what I'll do is I'll switch to the other camera, and it's kind of a better view, I guess, because I can't really tell what this one's doing. But I'm going to work on that. I've got a fork seal, I've got a dust boot for it, kind of just go through the disassembly and then the reassembly of everything and just kind of make that, it could be a how-to, not scratch that. We're not going to make these how-tos, we'll make them, again, like I said, how-I-dos. Don't take this as being the be-all, end-all. I don't have a manual, I've never built a bike before. I do like a little bit of maintenance on my other bike, oil changes, things like that, but nothing major. So don't take this as gospel, just take these as examples. Okay, so we'll get you switched to the other camera and then we'll get started. Okay, like I've said, we've got the fork tube here. Kind of go through a rundown. Basically what we need to do is we need to get this open, we need to get inside, we'll take the cap off there, get the spring out, get the damping rod out, get that out, get the old fork oil out, replace it with the new seal. You can see that, and also a new dust boot. Now I know like the whole point of this build was to get all of the parts, as many as possible, off of eBay. I did get these off of eBay. Like I said, I got excited, so I just kind of bought them instead of waiting. But they are parts off of eBay. I don't know if you can see the part number there for the dust cover. I don't remember what the part number was for the fork seal. I just kind of bought it, just whatever the description said. It happened to match up for the other one that I did. I know the seals themselves came from Rusty Riders on eBay, and I'll throw links up and everything down in the description so you can see exactly where they came from. So let's go. Gloves are important. PPE. 2x2. Hands of blue. So, first thing we need to do is we need to get this cap off right here. It is just a 1/2 inch drive, the adapter, and basically all we need to do is get this in there and lefty loosey, righty tighty. And we use the vise here. Clamping your fork tubes, make sure clean your rags, stuff them down in there. All I want to do is clamp it just enough to get it secure. I'm not trying to squeeze it too much, just to keep it from spinning because it is slippery. I'm going to use a mallet, rubber mallet. Hopefully that will get it to spin quicker than to just kind of break it loose. That's all it took. That little bitty hit right there. Loosen it up. You'll see, I guess there's a better example of that later on that I'll do. To actually get the damping rod out, there's a little bolt on the end that you have to get loose. And the damping rod, it's actually screwed into the damping rod. And basically I found that if you can get the bolt to spin faster than the damping rod, then you can get it off pretty much no problem. So I got this loose with just a little tap from the mallet. I'll take this off. It is under pressure. There's a spring, a fork spring, obviously, inside of here. So when you're unscrewing it, I'd say push in, push down. Don't let the cap take the pressure, just so the threads don't get jacked up. Take it, smell it, wipe it down. Make sure. I did not buy new rubber seals for there. just because, you know, I'll worry about it later if it leaks. But just make sure everything's good and wipe down. I'm going to put this to the side, make sure it doesn't get damaged. Take the spring out. There's the spring, you can see coming out. Take it out, make more of a mess, and dump the fork oil out. It's kind of hideous. Let the velociraptors out. Now I didn't show taking these off, taking the fork assembly apart. It was kind of rusted and pitted. The tubes themselves, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to get new ones. I'll throw up pictures. I have pictures of the old one of when I took them off. I had the headlight ears, actually had to use a mallet to get them off because they were just so corroded on there and rusted on there. I think you can even see some of the pitting in the tube there, and then up towards the top there's some also. It was a lot worse. I hit this last year when I first got the bike. I hit this with a wire wheel just to kind of clean it up a little bit, and it helped. Now a lot of bikes, once you get to this point, there's a little, inside this little indentation there's a little clip holding in the seal. There's a seal cover, I guess, for lack of a better term, that I know, and then the seal is below that. And a lot of bikes, some bikes, pretty much every how-to video I've watched, which helps not at all, you take that the clip out, you take the fork tubes and you pound them against each other, and the seal pops out. It's not the case with that. I use the roofing nail, actually. We'll switch from the screwdriver to the roofing nail, or to the finishing nail rather. Same thing, find the little edge of it. Just some light taps to that clip. I don't know if you can see it, it's right there. The very end of it is sticking out now. So I'm going to stick my screwdriver in there now. Hopefully don't put it back in. And then we just kind of pick it up, pick it out, all the way around. Right there. And there we go. And the little clip comes off. So take that, put your nails to the side, screwdriver to the side. Just wipe it down. This one's all rusty. It's not going to hurt it, it'll be rusty, especially considering the way the rest of the bike looks. But just so it is cleaned up, so it does have a little bit of spring tension to it, so I know it's still relatively good. Not a big deal. Alright, so next after that, after the retaining clip, you reach in there and there's this little ring, retaining ring. I don't know these terms. I'm sure they're wrong. I'm sure someone will tell me, but take that out. And we have the retaining ring, put that to the side. And then you have your seal right here, the rubber, black rubber seal. Now the other one I did, it was so corroded and it was on there so badly. This is the old one. This is the other one that I did off the other fork leg. If you can see that, like, this is a new one. That's a new one there. This is the old one. I had to literally I had to hammer it out. I had to use a screwdriver, and I tried the heat. I tried just picking up the edge of the metal ring that's inside and tried pulling it out. I tried just using my fingers. I tried everything, and I eventually just had to take a screwdriver and a hammer and just get in between the edge of the seal and the fork tube, bend it out, and then still pry it out, and it was just corroded. Like, the inside of the fork, the seal seating surface was just so corroded that the rubber had stuck to it, and that was the old one. That was getting it off. That was how horrible it was. So hopefully this one won't be as bad. If it is, then you'll see me do some horrible things to this fork. But okay, so now that we've got the seal retaining clip, retaining rings out, you can go ahead. And now, like I said before, these are not ones that you take and you you bang against each other. There's a lip inside that the seal actually sits on, a lip inside the fork tube that the seal sits on, so there's no contact being made with it. You have to take the damping rod out. You have to take the forks apart to get that seal out of there, to get to it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the trick I found to get this off. The first thing we're going to do, I'm going to put my cap back in just in case there's any more fork oil in there. Don't look it all over the bench and make it all, of course nobody does. Just screw it in just enough. And the thing that I found, the number 8 Allen key, right? The thing I found is get it loose first. Hopefully I'll be able to get it loose first. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Get it loose first. Just break it loose. There. Where's my mallet? Where's my mallet? Again with the mallet. Just a little smack. Alright, same thing. Stick it in there. Lots of rags, keep it from getting all jacked up any more than it already is. Stick it in turning. Should be easier. Find it. And then to the left. There we go. Old-fashioned drill number 8 bit. Make sure that's it. Stick it in there. And all I want to do basically is just reverse it, hopefully faster than the damping rod can spin. It'll get looser and looser and looser and looser until the point where it's keeping up with it. And then I have a plunger handle that I'll stick in there just to give it a little bit of pressure against it, and that should help get it the rest of the way out. So let's see how this goes. You can see you hear it straining at the beginning, and then it kind of lessens up, and so believe me, it made worse sounds the last time. So it's pretty good. So what we're gonna try now, let's take this rod. It's a plunger handle. Another reason for gloves, and we just jam it in there basically. Put some pressure on it, on the end of it, and it will keep. Hopefully, it keeps the damping rod from spinning. So we'll try that now. I'll tear up my glove. Let's see. So we need something that's going to cause a little bit of friction on the end of that rod, and hopefully this metal will do it. It's loose. So we have the damping rod out. It's got a spring on it. It has a small thing on it too. That's the technical term. So I'm just going to wipe off all the old fork oil. Now, I don't have any new fork oil because I don't have any new fork oil. So I'm going to put the spring back on. Hopefully it doesn't matter which way. And I'm going to put this to the side. So this goes to the side, and now we can take our tube, our inner tube, our slider, I guess, or outer tube from the inner tube. Easiest way to do it. So we just pull gently after using ratchet straps and hammers, and there we go. And at the end, make sure everything's copacetic. All right, there we go. The inner. Now, there was a video on YouTube I watched. It's like, I don't know how many parts, and I'll put a link to that, or I'll put a card up at the end. I haven't figured out how to do the cards at the end, but there'll be some way that you can know, either in the description or something, where the guy shows how to get the thing out. And he ended up just using heat, taking a heat gun to get it out. Sugar system! I tried the heat gun. It did not work for me. I tried just prying it out. That did not work for me for the last one. I tried everything to get this thing out. For the last one, nothing worked. what I did find out that worked was flathead screwdriver, mallet, right? Because these things are so old, basically all I did, all I'm doing is taking the screwdriver, putting it right in the edge of the seal, and I'm just going to start banging. Screwdriver in the edge. Yeah. And literally just peel out the seal. And again, you can see the white around there. All that is just corrosion. And this is a rubber seal, but it's got so much corrosion on there that it was basically just stuck in there. And so I ended up having to do that to it just to get it out again. So I guess it's par for the course for this bike. Put off the mating surface there. Wonderful, wonderful. And there we go. Relatively clean mating surface. Now what I'm going to do, just to get in there again, very fine steel wool. I mean, it's like a bajillion grit. So on the inside, just to kind of get any, like I said, more of that corrosion off of there, off of that surface. I don't know if this is something that you should do. It's something that I do. I grease pretty much everything if I can. Just a little bit, just enough. Just around the upper side as much as possible. Like put it at the bottom, it's going to just squeeze out the bottom. But at the top, it should get pushed down in theory. So it's like basically just a very light coating. Grease around there. And that's just to hopefully keep it from sticking, any more corrosion buildup, anything like that. Like that's literally all I need. So there's the new seal. The seal has basically a flat side and it's got an indented side. The indented side goes in, flat side goes up, out. Okay. I've still got grease on my hands, so I'm just kind of greasing up the new seal a little bit, make it just shiny, barely shiny there. And plop it in like so. Now I don't have a tool, a seating tool for this. At this point though, I've done so many things wrong, it's really probably not going to matter. And again, I did this for the last one. It worked for the last one, so I'm going to do it for this one too. Alright. So I don't have a driver tool, Motion Pro like is a popular one. I don't have one. I'm not going to buy one just for this. So what I used is off of the triple tree here, the top nut. Unscrew the top nut. There's two washers. There's a small washer, and there's a thicker washer. And the bolt, the top nut itself. This is what I did is I put that larger washer on there, on the top nut, and because the top nut's so small, I can put it pretty much anywhere I want to. It rotates around, and I found that if I put it like once I get like a little bit of edge showing, a little lip showing where I can hook it in, like that, I can hit the top nut and it'll push it down, and I can just it'll work its way around and kind of hold it in there, so it can help seat the seal. And you can see, like it literally, I know I didn't show it, I'm just down to one camera at this point, but it literally, as you hit it, like you put it in one spot and you hit it, it just moves around inside that space, like there. It can't go out, and chances are it's not gonna, it usually doesn't stop like in the middle. It'll just stop like around an edge because it's trying to escape. but it can't get out. So it just stays in there, and then it causes you to be able to seat the seal. Just like that, all the way around. Alright, now, everything goes back together. Like all of that, and everything just goes back together now. Assembly is the reverse of removal. The inner fork tube, just like that. Find the hole, slide it down in there, all the way down. The damping rod, right there, like this actually, the way the fork is, just drops down in there, all the way to the bottom. This is just one of those things that you probably don't have to do, but I do. It's one of the first videos I started watching when I got my bike was Del Boy's Garage. Whether you think he doesn't know what he's talking about or not, he gave me a lot of confidence to just work on my own bike. Like a lot of confidence. Like, just diving in and just paying attention and patience and making sure you do things, the right way, or, the best you can, and usually that's good enough. I've been doing it his way for 3 years, 2.5 years, and it hasn't failed me yet. So, because he's a proponent of the grease, and he's a proponent of this gasket material, silicone, the black silicone, I tend to use it in my stuff too. Just a little bit. Like that's literally enough for what we're doing. Make sure the mating surfaces is dry, clean, whatever. And just right around the bottom of this thing, of this bolt, like just the last couple threads right around the bottom. That's it. That's all we're doing. Because then what I'll do is I take the washer, the copper washer here, right, and I put that down on top of that silicone, and it squishes out just a little bit and kind of makes another seal for it. So just in case. That's all it's for, is for the just in case. And then it just goes in same way it came out. And tightening it, oddly enough, loosening it, you've got to have something to hold it to keep it from spinning. When you tighten it, it'll just catch and it'll tighten and it'll hold on to its same way that you took it out. Yeah. Troublesome. Alright. The retaining ring goes back on over the tube, like so, all the way down, and then the retaining clip just snaps into place. Right there. You squeeze it and then push it in, and it just snaps into place, and that's it. It's in there all the way around. There's your fork tube. Then you place obviously you replace the cap. Obviously you replace the spring. It's been sitting here waiting patiently. There we go. There's that. And then you replace the cap. Attention on it. I don't want to make the cap do the work, so I'm going to push down as I turn. Or push in rather, as I turn. Once it's got those threads, like I don't want the threads to take the strain. There we go. There's that. Now, this bike, when I got it, it did not have, it had one dust boot. That's what's left of it. You can see the rubber is all cracked and everything. Maybe it had two. No, is that just all one? Oh, no. They're all cracked regardless. So I got new ones, soft and pliable. And that's just simply a matter of pushing them on, sliding them down. Yeah. They have like a little lip, and they just kind of hook over the lip, and they stay in place. And there you go. Kawasaki KZ750 fork tube. You can see this is the first one I did, and you can see I used heat on it so that the tube itself turned golden from the heat I applied. It's a feature now. Just pretend it's Olene's or something. But so there's that. So again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. You know, if you want to see more of it, you know, like, comment, subscribe. You don't have to hit the bell. Just tune in. Hopefully we'll get the camera issues sorted out and everything like that. So yeah, until next time I see you, thanks for tuning into the Sugar Daddy Show. All right, bye.